Hello everyone, welcome to Geeks for Geeks, a Python channel, and I welcome you all to this live session. Let me just check the audio.
Hello everyone, welcome to Geeks for Geeks.
Yes, so I've checked the audio, it's working fine. So video and audio are fine. Okay, so we'll start in a moment. So the topic for today's discussion is command arguments in Python. Okay, as you would have read from the title and the thumbnail. So we will see in this session what are command arguments and how do we handle command arguments in Python and why they are useful. The first and the foremost question that everyone should have in their mind is why do we need command arguments and what is the basic use of it? Okay, before we jump into any code and demo things, before jumping into those things, we should understand the theory a bit and then the idea behind using command arguments, and then we will jump into the example part or the code section part. Okay, so I'll just start this session by taking a very small example. So I'm going to my command prompt. Let me just zoom in a bit. Yeah. So if I type this command, which is Python and then hyphen version. Okay. So this command is basically used to check the version of Python installed on my system. And if I run this, it prints Python 3.7.6. Okay. Now Python in this is a command, right? For a command prompt, Python is the command for using the Python app, for invoking the Python app. And then this hyphen version that you see after the space is basically known as command line arguments. Okay, so it's basically a way in which the user interacts with the application, okay, and provides some important data. Okay, this is basically a way in which a user interacts with the application or the code, and then he provides some data, the user related data they provide to the application, okay, so that the application accepts that user data and then it performs the code, and then it evaluates the rest of the code, okay, based on these arguments which are given by the user. Okay, so we will see how we have defined. So let's say you give this command py, and then let's say your script name is add. Okay, so you will give py add.py. Now this is to execute the script. Okay, and then so if you just execute the script, then also this add.py is an argument. Okay, this is an argument. So the first argument that that is associated with the Python is the name of the file. Name of the file. This is your first argument. Always if you execute Python commands, your first argument has to be the name of the file. Then comes the rest of the arguments. This is also an argument, add.py, but it is a name of the file. Okay, now in the next file I will, let's say, accept two numbers. Okay, so hyphen num1, so let's take 10, and then space hyphen num2, so let's take 20. So let's say I have given these command arguments. Okay, so my command argument will start from this point, and then everything after that is command arguments. So how this is defined is, so for so for add.py, I need two numbers. Okay. So this is my second argument. This is my first argument, which is name of the file. This is my second argument. This is my 10 is my third argument. Then num2 is my fourth argument, and 20 is my fifth argument. Okay. So I have given total 5 arguments, in which first is the name of the file, then followed by uh, 4 arguments, where 2 are grouped as the name and the value of the variable, and the second is the name and the value of the second variable, which I want to add. Okay. So now these arguments will be accessible in my can be accessed inside my add.py file. Okay. The user passes these arguments, I mean all these, including the file name. So these are passed into add.py file. Okay. They are not passed, they are I won't say passed, I will say these are accessed. Okay, these are accessed inside add.py, because I will write the logic of adding the numbers inside add.py, but I am taking the input from the command line in the form of arguments. And how we have defined arguments after py file, or everything separated by space is an argument. Okay. So add.py is the file name argument, then followed by the arguments. Okay. Okay. So that's how and then these arguments will be accessed inside add.py, and where I will write the logic that what is I'll fetch the value of num1, num2, and then I'll add, and then I'll print something. Okay. So that's how things work. Okay. So you got the arguments from the command line, you get the arguments from command line, and then you process it. Okay. Now, how do we access these commands inside my add.py? Okay. How do I get the access directly, or how do I get the variable access or the command line arguments into my file, which is add.py, right? So for that we will discuss two modules. One is sys and other is argparse. Okay, these are the two techniques through which the access through which these command line arguments will be accessed inside my add.py. Okay, so just remember this thing, that there are some arguments which are separate. Anything which comes after py will be treated as an argument separated by spaces. Okay, and this is available through the help of sys module or argparse. It depends on whichever you want to use. Argparse is a little more complicated and gives you a little more functionalities, but things can also be right. Like if you write the correct logic, then sys also works the same way. Okay. Okay. So now we have done this. Let's jump to the code section where we will see the realization through how we will see. First, we will check how these arguments are accessed. Okay. Okay. So I am creating a file which is cmd demo.py. Okay. And let's start writing some code. So I will import the sys module. So because we will first see sys, through sys how these command arguments are accessed, then we will see through argparse. Okay, and at the end we will just also implement a small code example. Okay, so first thing is sys module. We are discussing sys module. Okay, so I have imported sys module. Okay, and then I will print the script has the name, and I will write like this dot format. Now how this arguments get stored? They get stored in the sys dot sys.argv. Okay, if you call sys.argv, that is basically the list, okay, which stores these all 5 arguments. So I have add.py, I have num1 10, num2 20. Okay, so how they will get stored is, so I will have my sys module is there, right? Now this sys module will have sys.argv. So this is a list, okay? And now what this list will contain? This list will contain these 5 elements, okay? What are these 5 elements? Yeah, so these 5 elements are these arguments. So my first argument, 0th index argument, will be add.py. Okay, so this is the name of the script. Second element will be num1. Okay, all strings, everything is string. Okay, third is 10, though 10 is a numerical value, but still it will be stored as string. Okay, then the fourth is num2. Okay, again a string. And the last element will be 20, again a string, not a number, though it is a number, but it will be stored as a string. So this will be my sys.argv list. Okay, so it will have 5 elements, and those 5 elements will be add.py, num1 10, num2 20. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm accessing the 0th index of the sys.argv. So what it will give me, it will give me the name of the file. Okay, so I'm just printing the name of the file. Okay, and I'm also telling how to access these arguments inside your file using the sys module and using the sys.argv list. Okay, sys.argv is a list, and when you access the elements of this list, you get different arguments. Okay, so let's count the number of arguments. So I will write length of, because it's a list, so I'm writing length sys.argv. So I'm writing finding the length -1. Okay, so these are the number of arguments. Okay, why I'm doing -1? Because the first one is already the file of the name of the file, right? So that is why I'm ignoring the first thing. Then after all that, I'm considering as an argument, because name of the file in most of the cases it doesn't matter, right? Okay, so now I will print the script contains, we have to give the brackets, the quotes. The script contains, let's give it like this, and then dot format, R will pass arguments, right? So the script contains this number of elements. Okay, so I'm just printing how many elements are there in my argument list. Now let's loop also, just to be sure that everything is correct. So for I in range, so I'm starting with the index 1, okay, because 0th index is the name of the file, which I am not interested in, right? So I'm just starting with the index 1. Then I'm going till the length of sys.argv. Okay, so you can just it's very straightforward, right? So you can just print sys.argv. Okay, argv of I. Okay, so first in first print line, I'm just checking what is the name of the script. Second line, I'm just seeing how many elements are there, how many arguments I have received from the command terminal, and in the third one I am printing all those arguments. Okay, so let's run this file once. So I have named my file as cmd demo, right? And now this I have written py cmd demo.py. So cmd demo.py is my first argument. Now I'll give some random arguments. Okay, so let's say I give hyphen num. Okay, and I give 10, and then I give hyphen num2. Okay, I give 20. So let's see what it prints. Okay, so it prints the script has the name cmddemo.py, right? Because in the print statement, I am accessing the 0th index of sys.argv, right? So script has the name cmddemo.py and the script contains 4 number of elements. Okay, 4 number of arguments or elements is it's the same thing. So why 4? Because the first argument is num, second is 10, third is num2, and fourth is 20. Okay, so now uh, at last I'm printing all the arguments. So all the arguments are num hyphen hyphen num 10 hyphen hyphen num2 20. Okay, and everything is a string. Okay, so this basically shows you the basic usage of how you can access the command line arguments using sys module. Okay, so this was a small basic demo, and then we will see how to make use of these arguments with a small example. So let's get rid of this as of now. Now the second topic is arg parse. So we will also see how can we see arg parse, how can we define arguments with arg parse. Okay, so text, let's say I want to give some help message, right? So this is a test program. Okay, so let's say this is my help message. Some basically in Python also you can type help flag, right? So I'll give a demo py hyphen help hyphen I think it's hyphen hyphen help hyphen hyphen help. Okay, so this is the after you use the help flag or the help thing, you get this much information, right? So it gives some basic help text. Okay, so this is what we are trying to display, okay, with this example. So text, then I instantiate the parser. So parser equals arg parser, okay, dot argument parser. Okay, and in the uh, inside this method I am giving one parameter which is description. Okay, so this description inside this parser method is basically it works as a help statement. Okay, so pers parser dot parse underscore args. Okay, and I save this much. Okay, so let's just run with help thing and see whether it prints or not. So py cmddemo.py and I use hyphen hyphen help. Okay, okay, so it's saying no module named arg. Okay, so it doesn't contains an e, so it should be arg parse arg arg parse arg parse, right? So it should be arg parse. The module name is spelled I misspelled it. Okay, and then we use argument parser and then the description I pass as text. Okay, then everything looks fine. Let's just save it once again and run it. Yes, so now if I use py cmddemo.py and I use hyphen hyphen help, it prints me this, which is this is a test program. So I gave this text, right? This is a test program. So this got printed with the help of help flag. Okay, so that is how you bind some help information with the program or the file that you are using, right? And some people might not be knowing what you have written, or they might not understand what is written inside, how is the flow inside your code inside the file, right? So you can always use this hyphen hyphen help. They can also they can always use hyphen hyphen help and they can get to know how you have written the program. Okay, so this is the first thing that we have done till using argparse. Okay, let's now see how to bind some different argument. Instead of help I want to use something else. Okay, So my text will be removed, okay, because I'm not using text anymore. So it is the method remains the same, but inside this what I'll do is I'll do nothing. Then in the parser object, instead of using parse arg, I used this parse arg to bind the help text. Okay. Now I will use add underscore argument. Okay. So add argument is basically used to add or bind any argument. Okay. So now inside this add argument, I will define what the arg parse module should look for in the command prompt. So I am giving the argument name as -V, or it can also have -- version. Okay, so this is my version command argument, in which if the user uses this version command argument, then the version I should get the version print. Okay, like we did with the Python, right? When we used Python -- version, it printed me the Python version installed, right? So how that can be done, comma. Now help, it takes a help function, okay, because what this command argument is showing to you, so that help message is necessary. So show program version. Okay, so this is my help text. Then the next is action. Now this action is very important. Okay, so we will understand. I will set action to show underscore true. Okay, we will understand this action thing. So action is done. Okay, now I will call the args equals parser, right? Parser dot parse underscore args. Okay, so I'm calling this dot parse underscore args. Okay, so I'm calling this. Now I'm checking. Now this has binded the version with the command line. Okay, now it's checking for this version. Okay, so now I'm checking if args dot version. So my name of the name is -- version, right? So args dot version is there. Then print version is let's say I will write 5.0.13. okay, so this is my version. Okay, so let's save it. So what I've done, I have binded -- version command argument. Help is show program version, and action is show true. We'll understand action thing. Then I've called the args parse args method, like in the previous example. And then now I'm checking if you find, I'm instructing the program to check that if you find version flag on the command line, then just print version is this much. Okay, let's just save it and test it. Okay, so I will again call py cmd demo.py. So, and then I will use -- version. Okay, this is my command argument. So let's call it. Okay, so okay, it is printing that there is no action, unknown action show. Okay, so it's not show true, it's store true. So instead of show, it's store. Okay, store true. Okay, so that's why it gave this error. Let's run it once again. Okay, now I gave py cmd demo.py -- version command argument I've used, right? So it is printing me version is 5.0.13. okay, so now it has executed this line because args.version was true, because I have used version here. while while executing the app, while executing the program, I've passed this hyphen hyphen version, right? So that is why this is printing true, right? Okay, so we have seen till here. So now you saw how we have handled uh, arguments with the help of sys module, right? And we have also seen how to uh, bind arguments using the arg parse. Okay, so we have also seen sys and we have also seen arg parse. Okay, now let's say you must be curious that what is this action. Okay, we discussed that, we will discuss it later. So why do we use this action equals store true? What is this action equals store true argument, right? So this is basically when, like if you see the previous examples, let me go back. Yeah, so in this example, which is cmd-demo.py, I have these arguments, which is hyphen hyphen num. Okay, now hyphen hyphen num has a value associated with it, right, which is 10, and hyphen hyphen num2 also has a value associated with it, right, which is 20. I need a value for num and num2, right? So whenever I have values associated, then in those cases I will not use the store, then I won't use the action equals store true. Okay, because in the version flag, in the version command argument, I don't require any value, right? My version command argument doesn't has a value, right? So then in those cases I have to use action equals store true. Okay, if my version would have required some certain value, okay, if as a programmer I would have been expecting the user to give some value for version command argument, then I would not have used action equals store true. So that for that purpose we have used action equals store true. Okay, so let's quickly see that case as well. Okay, so import argparse, parser equals argparse dot argument parser. Okay, I will add add argument. Okay, let's suppose, let's change this to hyphen hyphen width. So let's say I am expecting a width command argument from the user. Okay, so I give hyphen hyphen width, and here I give the other form hyphen w. So either way, user can use hyphen w or hyphen hyphen width. Hyphen hyphen width is the extended form in which you give the command arguments, and hyphen w is it's basically a standard. Okay, so hyphen w is just a small short form. Okay, so either way it basically will relate to that same thing. Okay, so now because because it's a width command argument, so I will expect the user to pass some value of width, right? It's not like my version where I have to give return user some value, right? So in these cases I expect a user to give me a width value, right? So in that case I will remove this action argument. Okay, and then args equals parser dot parse args. Okay, now here instead of checking for version, I will check for width. So if args dot width is true, then print what? Set width. Okay, let's give it like this: user entered width as how do you access? So you will write like this: dot format. So in place of curly brackets I will give this value, which is how do you access? Args dot width. Okay, so this is how you access the width value. Okay, in the if condition also I have used like this, args, if arg dot width. Okay, because it will contain some value, so it will return true, right? So then instead of this I will user entered width as dot format args dot width. Okay, now I haven't used store true, right? So my program will definitely expect me to fill some value. So the command argument will be width, and in place of width I will give 10. Okay, let's see what it prints. Yes, so it prints user entered width as 10. This is what this is what I have given in the if condition, that if you find args dot width, then print user entered width as 10. Okay, whatever I passed as the next value next to width command argument, that will be treated as the width value. Okay, and because I was expecting a value from the user for this width command argument, I have not given the store true parameter. Okay, when I'm adding the argument to the parser, then I have not given store true, because I am expecting user to bind a value with that command argument, right? So that's how you bind different arguments to your app or to your program, and that's how you access the values, okay, of both the parameter and their value. Okay. Okay, so this is done. So we have seen both sys module and we have seen argparse. Okay, now let's create a simple program. Okay, let's create a simple program using sys module, where I'll show the functionality as to how it can be incorporated into your program. Okay, how everything can be incorporated in your program. So let's say my program, I have 3 command arguments. Okay, can be 3 types of command arguments, right? So if user passes this thing, second thing, third thing, either of one it can pass. Okay, so let's say if it passes this, then greet them with some greet them with a message, and plus their name. Okay, and in the second one, let's just say I print their name some x times. Okay, right. And in the third one, what I'll do is what I'll do is I will greet them with some affirmation message. Plus their name. So let's say my app functionality is this. Okay, based on the command argument that user gives, you have to do these 3 tasks. Okay, so they are very simple tasks, but they will help us to understand how can we handle command arguments in our code, and then how can we work with them. Okay, so I will use the sys module. So let's get started. So import sys, everything is very simple. You just have to focus and you just have to see how it is getting executed. Okay, import random. So random because so let's say I take affirmations as a list. Okay, and inside this I take 2 messages. So those 2 messages are, let's say, looking good. Okay, so you are just greeting whoever is using this app with looking good. And the second one is hooray. Let's say I type hooray for. Okay, so what I want to do is I will accept username with a command argument, and the type of command argument. Okay, and then I'll greet their name with these two messages. Okay, so I need three functions for as we discussed here. I will have three functionalities, right? One is this, then this, then this, right? So I need three functions. Okay, so first one is print print, let's say, affirm. Okay, print affirm, and I will pass name into it. Okay, because I need the name. So what I want is looking good name, looking good. Let's say I pass the name as Utkarsh. Okay, so it should print looking good Utkarsh. Okay, then if I pass some X name, then it should print hooray for X. Okay, whatever. So now I will give affirmations equals random dot choice. So I'm using choice module from random, and I am using this on this affirmations list. Okay, random dot choice. So this will just pick one out of looking good or hooray for and store it in affirmation. Okay, and then I am printing affirmation comma name followed by my name. Okay, so this is my first functionality. The second functionality is to print that name some X number of times. Okay, that X will be taken as an input from the user. So I will write print hello, okay, followed by my name. Okay, and then I will do print very simple hello comma name. Okay, so this is my second functionality. And then the third one is I want to print the name some n number of times. Okay, so I will write print n copies. Okay, and I will give n, which is the number of times you need to print that name, and the name which you want to print. So I will write for I in range n. Okay, what I'll do is I'll print the name and comma end equals this. So I don't want it to print in a new line. I want it to print with spaces. Okay, so that's why I've given the end parameter as a space instead of new line. If I don't use the end thing, then it will print the names n number of times in a new line. Okay, but I don't want that. I want them to keep printing in the same line. So that's why I've given the end parameter as a space. So after space it will print. Okay, and at the end, when everything is printed, then just print a new line. Okay, so these are my three functionalities. Okay, now I will define my main function, and inside this main function, what I will do is, so here I have to handle the arguments. Okay, so what I do is I first take args equals sys dot argv. Okay, and I take because sys.argv, as we saw in the example, it's basically a list. Okay, so I'm taking everything starting from the first index till the end. Okay, I'm slicing it. Why I'm taking it from the first index? Because I don't want the name of the script, right? So I'm now using some conditions. If length of args equals 2 and args of 0, okay, equals the name of, so hyphen affirm. Okay, then what do? Execute the print affirm. Everything will be clear once I execute args of 1. Okay, this is my first condition. Then the same thing. So if the length of the arguments is 2, because I need 2 arguments, the name of the argument should be affirm, and the next thing should be a value. Okay, so that value is basically the name. Okay, so yeah, so the next one is after affirm I am taking hello. Okay, so in hello and arg0 is this, then print instead of print affirm it should be print hello. Okay, and then again the same thing for the third function, for executing the third function. So if I ask this and this, now instead of affirm I am giving -n. Okay, so these are the three command arguments that I will use, followed by a value for them. Okay, so if this, then print n copies. Okay, print underscore n underscore copies, and now this n will be passed as a string, right? So if you would remember, everything gets passed as a string, right? All the parameters gets passed as a string. But if you see, for printing the names n times, I want it to be an integer, right? So I will convert it to integer. N equals int, and then I can give args of 1. Okay, so based on the this affirm, hello, or -n, all these things will be, all these three different functions will be executed. And now I'll pass that n comma arguments of second argument, right? Okay, and now the last thing is to execute everything inside the if name equals main. Okay, if underscore name equals underscore main, right? Then just execute my main function, right? Let's save it and let's run it. Okay, so with the affirm flag, I want to execute the print affirm function, which is this one, and print affirm function expects a name. Okay, so I have to also pass the name. So let's see how I execute this. So py cmd, so this is my file name. Then I will use, what is my command argument? -affirm, right? So if I give -affirm and then I give my name, which is Utkarsh. Okay, so because it also expects a name, right? Let's execute it. Yes, so now it prints hooray for Utkarsh, right? So randomly it has chosen hooray for, and it has printed hooray for comma name. The name which I passed was passed as the second argument. Utkarsh is second argument, right? Second command argument. So that's what I've passed. My first 0th index was affirm, and my first index was Utkarsh. Why? I should have three. I should have three, because first argument is cmd demo.py. Second argument is -affirm. Third argument is Utkarsh. But in the starting only I have sliced the sys.argv list, right? So after slicing, I have discarded this cmd demo.py. So my 0th becomes affirm and my first index becomes Utkarsh. So it has executed. So first it checked that if length of args is 2, it was 2, and the 0th index is 0th element is affirm. Then execute the print affirm statement with my name, which was Utkarsh. Okay, it passed Utkarsh into the print affirm function, right? Now let's change it to hello. So I will use py cmd demo.py hyphen hello. So this is my first parameter, and then I'll give a value which is Utkarsh, and it printed hello Utkarsh. Why? Because cmd, because first I had 3 arguments in my sys.argv, cmd demo.py hyphen hello and then Utkarsh. And then after that I sliced and I discarded the first the 0th element, which was name of the script. So now it only contains hello and Utkarsh. So 0th index is hello, first index is Utkarsh. Now it checks if length of arguments is, so this line got executed now. The other two didn't get executed because this if condition was true. If length of argument is true 2 and the 0th index is hello, it has to be 0 because I have passed hello, right? So if this is 2 and this is hello, then execute print hello with the first argument. And the first argument was Utkarsh, which I passed into print hello. So it printed hello Utkarsh. Okay. Now the third thing is hyphen n. Okay. So I'll execute again. Hyphen n. Okay. And now what I need to pass? The first argument is the number of times. So let's say I want to print 10 times. And what I want to print 10 times? My name, which is Utkarsh. Okay. So hyphen n. Okay. So length of argument should be 3 here, right? I had given length of argument equals 2, but here I have 3 arguments. Okay. So let's save it and run once again. So I'm passing hyphen n, 10, and then Utkarsh. So now it has printed Utkarsh, 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 Utkarsh 10 times. Okay. Let's give a space at the end of Utkarsh. Name plus let's give a space. Okay. Let's save it, run once again. Yes. So now it has printed Utkarsh 10 times. Okay. So why? Because first I had 4 arguments, cmd demo.py hyphen n, 10 and Utkarsh. I discarded cmd demo.py. I had 3 arguments. Then I checked if length of argument is 3, which was 3 in this case. Argument 0 is hyphen n. My argument 0 would have been hyphen n. Then store n, store the number of count in the n as an integer because that is a string, and then pass those two things into, pass the name, which is stored in argument 2, and n into print n copies. Okay, and print n copies, what it will do, it will take 2 inputs and then it will just print that name for n number of times. Okay, so this is how you give different command arguments to your app or your program, and this is how you access and frame this is how you frame logic. If you see, I have framed logic over here, right? I wanted to execute 3 functions. Each one had different functionality, and I want that functionality based on what user has given me as an input. Okay, so if you see, I have beautifully framed these conditions so that based, when I give hyphen affirm, execute this. When I give hyphen hello, execute this. If I give hyphen n, then execute this. Okay, so based on what I give as the input, it performs that particular, my script performs that particular function. Okay, so that's how you store command arguments. That's how you access them. We discussed 2 possible ways to access these arguments. One is sys, the second one is argparse. Okay, we also discussed argparse, and then we saw a small example as to how to frame logic. Okay, so that's I guess we'll stop here. That's pretty much it for today's session, and I will see you soon in the next one with a new topic. So keep following and share it with your friends, share it with your college friends and everything, and yeah, make sure they also take advantage of these sessions and live sessions, and make sure they join these sessions in future. So that will help us and that will motivate us in the long run, and so that we can continue creating kind of content like this for you. Okay, I hope you would have enjoyed this today's session, and hope you there were some takeaways for you from this session for you guys. And yeah, just keep following, keep learning, and explore more on these topics. I'll see you in the next one. uh, until then, take care, stay safe, goodbye.